In this video, I will show you every player that you need to succeed for the NBA single game slate on FanDuel tonight, as the 1-seeded Los Angeles Lakers from the West take on the 5-seeded Eastern underdogs of the Miami Heat in Game 1 of this unprecedented 2020 NBA Finals. My name's Quick Pick Nick, and having simulated over a million different combinations of 5-man lineups, here are your locks and lotteries for Wednesday, September 30th. If you like this kind of fast-paced, calculated content, subscribe and stay tuned for more coverage throughout the finals. To start off the lineup with the first lock, my model recommends taking the undisputable greatest player of all time in your 2x MVP slot, LeBron James. Now you could say whatever you want about who was better when and why LeBron might not be as good as someone else in a certain situation, but at the end of the day, James is the GOAT. He was able to single-handedly carry Cleveland to their first championship in 50 years back in 2016, and now, with at least some semblance of support in LA, I believe he'll be able to win yet another ring. James will likely enter Game 1 with this mindset as well, and has shown up in crucial games throughout the playoffs so far. To close out Series 3 against the Nuggets, James once again put the team on his back, adding yet another triple-double to his record and scoring almost 40 in-game points, ending the night with a 73 fantasy point performance. During the finale of the season, I expect LeBron to be full throttle throughout every game against Miami, and he should be able to put up similarly massive numbers tonight as he sets the stage for what the Heat can expect from the GOAT. Following our cash cow, the second lock will be slotted into the star position, also as another big name on the Lakers, LA's second starting forward, the unibrow himself, Anthony Davis. Now there were certainly some dark spots for Davis during the most recent series with Denver, like in Game 3, where he only came up with 2 rebounds. However, even during such an uncharacteristically unproductive night for Davis, he still scored 31 fantasy points, which isn't a bad floor to have given his upside of consistently averaging around 50 fantasy points or more per game. I expect Davis to adopt a similar mindset to James going into the final series, that they'll both give it everything they've got to finish the season as strongly as possible. The third and final lock for this slate will be our pro player, and likely the highest scoring fantasy player on the other side of the ball, Bam Adebayo. Taking Adebayo means fading Jimmy Butler, as given the first 2 players who are firmly locked in, there's only enough budget for one. Butler always has that backdoor potential to ball out and score 50 plus fantasy points in one game, but his stat sheet recently shows performances averaging around the 35-point range instead, which pales in comparison to Adebayo's scores against Boston, averaging closer to 50 per game during Series 3. Additionally, Adebayo is cheaper than Butler by $500, seemingly making for a no-brainer here as long as Butler doesn't come out of nowhere with a 50 plus performance from what has looked like somewhat of a cold streak for him. So I'd say go ahead and lock in Adebayo for 1.2 times points tonight. Finally, as we get into the lotteries, the difference is made with the small cost players that nobody expects to score points. The locks I've laid out here are set up for a successful lineup regardless of who the small cost players are, but there will definitely be some variability in this section, which is why I'll present 2 options this time around. The top 3 players are still locked in and are preserved throughout all 10 of the top 10 simulated lineups ranked by projected fantasy points, but these bottom 2 may vary, so it's really up to being able to guess which bench players will find their time in the spotlight. The first option includes Jay Crowder and Alex Caruso. A veteran on the court, Crowder is a key piece of the Miami lineup who's really been a part of the backbone of their team throughout the playoffs. He's consistently played for at least 30 minutes through most of the Heat's games so far and should expect similar minutes tonight. Caruso is the other option because for only $7,000 we might be able to see a 20 plus fantasy point performance. Caruso has played a key role in the past with the Lakers, especially against the Nuggets, so he may continue this enlarged role tonight. If you don't like those 2, for the second combination, my model chose Duncan Robinson and Andre Iguodala. Robinson played quite well against the Celtics in Series 3, averaging over 20 fantasy points per game. Going up against a weaker shooting guard of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope or Danny Green rather than Marcus Smart, we should be able to expect a more exceptional performance out of Robinson tonight. As for Iguodala, he really came out of nowhere in the final game of Series 3 for the Heat, scoring 26 fantasy points in 27 minutes. He hadn't seen much attention until then, only finding glimpses throughout the playoffs, but towards the end of the series, it seemed like the Heat were utilizing him more often. I expect this veteran who has experience in the finals to be used tonight as well. These are the 2 lineups my model was able to come up with for tonight's single game slate on FanDuel as we begin the most unique circumstantial NBA Finals to date. If you enjoy these lineup builders, be a friend, tell a friend. Let's grow the Quick Pick Network. This has been Quick Pick Nick, the intersection for sports, data analysis, and speed. Thanks for watching.